good morning to you, wherever you are, because it is Morning Somewhere for November 7th, 2024. My name is Bertie Burns, sitting right over there. She's not a doom scroller. It's Ashley Burns. Say hi to Ashley, everybody.
Good morning.
Ashley, I need to apologize to you because I literally spent the entire day yesterday. I think I had about 9 hours of screen time yesterday. And I spent the whole day just doom scrolling.
Look, every now and again, you need a good spiral, right? You need a good spiral so that you remember what it's like when you don't spiral. You remember what the spiral feels like.
It was interesting. I really do appreciate all our friends here in Scotland because I had some really interesting conversations today dropping kiddo off for school. Because the last time I talked to people about the U.S., I was going to the U.S. to vote, and they were like, they thought that was so strange and interesting. They were like, you're flying all the way back to vote? And then today I have to go through the explanation of, so 15 million people just didn't go out to vote that voted last time. Because now the stats are the Republicans ended up the same, about a little bit less.
Yeah, it was like
a million,
4% less or something like that.
Yeah, it was like a million less. And then the Democrats, the vote in 2020 was 81 million people, and it's going to shake out to be about 14, 15 million less people voted. They didn't go anywhere. They just didn't go out. So it was interesting to objectively explain that to somebody else.
Guys, we recorded you an extra long podcast. What do you want?
It's just
what does it take?
It's just it was weird. It was weird bookends, like for some of the people. I hadn't seen him in a long time. They did that. So anyway, on to the regular news with the world in progress. Yesterday there was a gigantic stock market rally.
Wait, did something happen yesterday?
The rally that happened yesterday. It added $64 billion to the top 10 richest people in the world to their net worth yesterday.
Right.
Stock market had a huge rally. Bitcoin hit a new all-time high, over 76,000. Previous all-time high was 73,000.
That's really crazy. I remember the hysteria when Bitcoin was on that run was it like 2021, 2022?
Yeah.
That last really big run when it was headed like up to the 60s, and everyone was like, oh my God, this is insane. I can't believe it's this high. It was like foaming at the mouth hysteria. And now it's up at 76, and that feels really quiet.
Yeah. Elon Musk alone yesterday gained $26.5 billion. Once again, if you're keeping score at home, the 0.5 is $500 million.
I hate it when decimals are that much.
Yeah. Jeff Bezos went up 3.2% of his net worth yesterday. Larry Ellison is coming in at second. He's the Oracle guy, 5.4%, and Warren Buffett as well, who's historically just long-term investor Warren Buffett.
I always find it interesting too when we get these like a big run in the market, and it adds this amount to people's, basically the value of their portfolio, because there's always the argument of like what net worth is and like what you can actually get your hands on, right? Because net worth, if you just Google someone's net worth, it doesn't mean a whole lot. It doesn't mean that that's what they've got in their piggy bank that they can spend. But when you have this much in like this huge change in someone's just like overall portfolio, and that's something that they can borrow against and buy other stuff with like all the weird tax loopholes you can get. It's crazy that you were talking in that huge sums of money, just like, yep, this just changed.
Yeah, and it's crazy too because Bitcoin going up, if you consider Bitcoin to be a currency, since it's a cryptocurrency, if you consider it to be that, the all-time high that it hit, you have to compare it against specifically the U.S. dollar, which is interesting that it went and hit its all-time high yesterday because the dollar soared as well. Specifically, one that was called out a currency was the Iranian rial. Trades now at an all-time low against the dollar.
Interesting.
Well, because of current geopolitics, it's people are not investing in that currency at the moment. So the dollar soared against everything. Oddly enough, even things like South Korea, like it soared against South Korea's currency as well. Just across the board, the dollar was up. Everything was up, which is interesting because on a global perspective, everyone is like looking at the U.S. now and going, yee. But when people invest in where the money goes, it's going now to the U.S.
Well, and the U.S. has often been considered like a safe haven currency, right? When things are unsure, when things are looking like they could be tough globally,
Right.
people invest in the U.S. dollar, right?
Which is interesting, though, if the uncertainty is coming from that place. That you have to, you have to recognize the irony of that. But it's kind of like, too, it's interesting when, like things like climate change, when people are saying like, it doesn't really exist, it's not really a thing. But then you watch insurance companies pulling out of Florida and no one can get home insurance in Florida anymore. It's like, why is that?
Right. Like the insurance
that a
companies
coincidence?
that are running the numbers.
Yeah.
And they don't think that the situation is going to get better in that regard.
Yeah. So it's interesting that when, people say one thing and then their pocketbook is somehow doing another thing. It's always interesting when that takes place.
Well, I guess for those investors, it's good news that the market went up so much because Apple issued a really interesting statement to its investors this week, and that is that it expects its new products, the profitability on new products to go down. They're like saying they may never have products as profitable as the iPhone again.
Which is interesting to me because I never really thought of the iPhone as being a profitable product because I thought of it more as something where it was very expensive and it was a revenue generator. I assumed it cost a lot of money to make it. And I guess I always assumed in the back of my head that it was kind of a loss leader that led people into the walled garden of the Apple ecosystem, which got them to use Apple Pay, which got them to use the App Store, where they have those huge rakes of money.
Well, we're used to coming from the video game economy where that is the case, right? Where very often the consoles are sold at a loss because once they get you to the attach rate, that is like you're like, we need like a 2.3 attach rate and we'll break even. That means that they expect you will probably over the lifetime of the console buy at least 2.3 games. And then the console has broken even on the loss that they sold the console at.
It works that way in entertainment as well. Very famously, one of the best examples of a loss leader situation was Battlestar Galactica on the Sci-Fi Network, where they would put it out and they just like, I talked to people and they're like, we don't expect this to make money and it won't make money. What it will do is it will get people on the channel and we will make a shitload of money by syndicating Cops, the show Cops.
Well, that's what happened to G4, right? It just ended up as like syndicated Cops.
Yeah, it
episodes.
just gets people in the door, and then we'll syndicate wrestling or we'll syndicate Cops, or in front of people once they're in the door because of Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, of course, that doesn't necessarily work in the world of streaming because you don't just like stay on for what's on next.
Can I follow up really quickly on something that I learned, which I should have known and never knew? I don't really know who Bad Baby is to begin with, and we were talking about her recently because she was at the top of the top OnlyFans earners list.
Right, yes.
So
I do remember that list.
Well, we're talking about super rich Americans, so Bad Baby was
what
on
do you
the
think
top
her
of that list.
portfolio has done in the last 24 hours?
I'm sure she's just fine. Do you know who Bad Baby is?
Is she a musician?
Yes, she is a musician now and a very, very popular OnlyFans model. You know what her origin is? How we first became aware of her culturally?
Well, Bernie, when mommy and daddy love each other very, very much.
Then they get together and make a Bobby.
They get together, they make a baby, and sometimes that baby is bad.
And sometimes that baby has an H in its name where it doesn't belong. Baby.
What you doing, baby?
Bad Baby, this multimillionaire, she's a multimillionaire OnlyFans. She's the Catch Me Outside girl.
What, from Dr. Phil or whatever?
Or Maury Povich or whatever the hell she was on back in the day. That's her. That's her.
Okay, that's taking like Haktua girl and on steroids.
That's insane. Like, I had no idea that this person has been part of the culture after that moment, ongoing, and is now one of the richest entertainers in America.
That's insane to me. No, I can't say I necessarily followed her post. What are those shows? Those like real life drama talk shows. Is there a name for that category of show?
Yeah, they're in the entertainment world. They're called train wrecks.
Okay, well,
rubbernecking train wrecks exploitation.
I can't say I closely followed her post train wreck TV episode career. I was aware of that moment, but I didn't follow along. It's funny when you disconnect someone from one event to the next, and then you eventually put them together. It's like driving through a city, and then you take a road that you've never taken before, and it puts you out in a different part of the city that you know, and suddenly the entire context of the city changes for you. That's just happened with the city of Bad Baby.
You found a new street. Here, I'll play the clip from you of her appearance, I think, on Dr. Phil here. Let's see. Back in the day.
And all these hoes laughing like so funny.
She's talking about the audience, that they're laughing at her.
I love that somebody has to translate for her.
Did you say the hoes are laughing?
Yep.
So the audience are a bunch of hoes.
Yep. Catch me outside. How about that?
Huh?
Catch me outside. How about that?
Wow. Crazy. And I can look it up, but
that moment led to the highest paid OnlyFans model in the world.
I guess just the lesson this week is just fucking make money. fucking go all out and make money. Jesus fucking Christ.
Well, be careful how you do it, though, Bernie. You could end up like Netflix France.
What?
So Netflix France.
You almost sounded French when you said that.
Maybe that's the secret to the French accent. I just have to not be able to say all my words properly. Is Netflix France has just been raided. France and in the Netherlands has been raided over tax fraud.
I feel like the
so
Netherlands
they're being investigated.
Got favorable treatment because all the headlines I read were France. I didn't know it was also the Netherlands.
Well, I suspect Netflix France is probably a bigger market, bigger office, bigger revenue, and so maybe that's where the headlines are coming. But this is specifically because I'm going to read you. This is a quote from an article on Deadline that we'll put in the link dump. But Netflix Services France paid 981,000 euros in taxes on profits for the 2019-2020 fiscal year. The French subsidiary appeared to have since abandoned tax optimization strategies. That's your buzzword for the day, with its declared local turnover ratcheting up accordingly from 47.1 million euros in 2020. That's what they said that their local turnover, their revenue was, to 1.2 billion euros in 2022. So basically that change in their declared revenue, their declared income and turnover, basically set off some really big alarm bells saying that, so what was your tax avoidance strategy for that previous tax year?
You've read this article. I have a question about it real quick.
Okay.
I keep reading in the headlines something about stealth employment. What does that mean? They were also they were charged with tax evasion and stealth employment.
I don't know that they've specifically been charged, but they are being investigated. And I don't know what stealth employment means exactly. I assume that it means that there's a dude in an alley in a trench coat. People walk by this alley and he goes, "Hey, you want a job?"
Do you want to see my red box?
I got some employment for you. So like if maybe they're paying people under the table to avoid paying taxes, that sort of thing. I'm not
Stealth
sure.
employment.
But so our words of the day are tax optimization strategy and stealth employment. If you can work those into a conversation today, let us know how. We're proud of you.
Yeah, the executive from Netflix France apparently is quoted here as saying, "Cash me outside then. How about that?" Wow.
And then they took off all their clothes.
We've lost the narrative, Ashley. The plot has been lost. According to everything I'm seeing, she posted payslips, Bad Baby, back in 2023, where she had made $57 million. But I just heard about somebody retiring from OnlyFans after 3 years, and she had made like $76 million or something like that. And if Bad Baby's at the top of the list, I imagine she's worth a lot more than that now.
So look, it's big money in boobs.
Big money in boobs, Ash. There's always money in the bra. There's always, if you want it, go get it. Dear Lord. Unbelievable. Crazy world. Hey, can I say to you, I was trying to look up stuff. Like I was just searching for this article about Bad Baby and her earnings because I know I had seen it. And that's the thing now is like there's so much stuff flying by. A lot of times I see something And I
You
gotta
did
get
just
better.
spend like 12 hours doom scrolling.
You know what? I am.
That's a lot of scrolling.
I see things a lot of times, and there's stories, and I'm just going to put this out there so I can get past this. I see stories about things, and one of the ways that I can mark it so that I can come back to it is by liking it. The problem is that there are, for lack of a better term, fucking weirdos out there who comb through people's likes and think like that's like an endorsement or something like that. It's a really weird thing. And if I like a story about something that I want to talk about, it doesn't necessarily mean that I like it. Does that make sense?
It absolutely. I
Yeah.
use if I'm going through, say, Instagram or something, I'm just like scrolling through things, and there's something that I might want to come back to later, like as a reference, or like I may come back and like try a recipe or something. I'll usually heart it.
And that's
For
by the way.
me that's just putting a little pin in it so that I can find it again later if I need to, because trying to intentionally find one specific Instagram reel or TikTok, whatever, you can see it. It'll just come up in your feed and you will never be able to find it again.
It's so, and I was thinking about this when I was looking up this Bad Baby story, is that one of the hardest thing to search for now is if you see a TikTok or you see an Instagram reel or whatever short form content, I assume YouTube shorts are the same way. Once you see it, you can know everything that's in the video and describe it perfectly. And those are the worst search engines in the world. You cannot find those videos after you've seen them.
I feel like we as an internet, as a collective internet, have gone from really valuing search to really valuing algorithms.
Yes.
Like it used to be a thing that you would go to Google and you would search the thing and you'd get the search results. Now they're all about the AI algorithm, and they'll surface things that aren't necessarily the thing you're asking for, or they'll surface incorrect information instead of just giving you the list of results. What you get with social media like Instagram, right, is they're just going to feed you things that they think you'll like, but you can't search for them. You can't intentionally bring anything up. It's like, no, you're going to get what you get.
Also, when did we decide?
And everyone left, and no one will put anything in a description. No one will describe the thing in the description. They're always bullshit descriptions, so you'll go into the comments so you engage.
I put
every
topic that we talk about, when I'm editing this, I just sit there and add it to the list of the description so that people can find it if they want to search for it later.
I've seen those and we look like crazy people.
It does. We have like a 20-minute podcast and there's like 34 topics somehow. I also want to ask, at what point did we decide on the internet that dates are a bad thing? We don't put dates on anything anymore, like posted. This was posted about a year ago. This was posted about 2 months ago or whatever. Why do we hide dates? Like, why don't we just have the post date and this is when it was posted?
Well, Bernie, you missed that meeting.
Yeah, right.
You missed that meeting. That was the meeting where we all got together and talked about Bad Baby.
And then exactly, that's when the notice came out. And Bad Baby said, "Hey, dates, catch me outside." No, but I got to like mouse over now on things to see the date, but I can't mouse over on my mobile, you know?
Yeah, you can't see like when was this posted.
When I'm in
'Cause
my
sometimes
8th
that
hour of
matters.
doom scrolling on my mobile phone, Ashley, I think I wore a groove in my phone yesterday. Just scrolling.
You're going to need to
and
replace the
scrolling
screen protector because you wore
and
through it.
scrolling. There's got to be let's say there's got to be other people who did the same thing. There's like
I think
millions.
I think
of
you're
people.
referring to everyone.
Everybody, yeah, everybody just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling yesterday. But it's just crazy to me that like we have decided to get away from dates. And like when I search for a reel, the search functions that are normally present in everything else are not there. Like I cannot search and then specify I want everything from the last week because I know when this thing came out. For some reason, they just want to hide all that stuff from me, you know? Because there's so many times when I'm thinking, oh, I should like copy the link to this and send it to myself. I just don't do it, and then it gets lost. It's so weird how fast things disappear into the fog of the internet.
You know, the real tragedy, Bernie, is that we have lost the tag cloud. Right. Do you remember there used to be like those like word tag clouds, and it was a big thing on blogs where it'd be somewhere, and the more a word got used, the bigger it would be in the cloud. If we could find some way to make that part of the viewer engagement experience on social media, like let's say you're going through a reel, right? And there's a reel that you like and you want to engage with it in some way, whatever. You put a tag on like Vampire Diaries. And then now that's added to the thing. And the more people tag it with Vampire Diaries, the more important that gets. And then, bam, we fix the search problem.
take me back. Take me back. That's all I can
Well,
say.
you want blogs and word tag clouds?
I'm so wistful for the old internet. I'm just wistful for it. I really am. And it's more than just like dates and things like that. I really miss it. And I feel like it's going away more rapidly than ever. It's been on the decline for a while, but it's like, it's like at the end of its life cycle, and you're watching this thing you love just degrade in real time. And it just sucks. I'm just wistful for the old internet. It's an old man over here talking about it. You feel that way too? Like, I feel like
do.
it wasn't around that long.
Look, there's a lot of things about the modern internet that I actually really, really love. I do love things like just scrolling on Instagram and being exposed to something that I would not have thought to search for. I think those are really cool. And I like being able to scroll through and just sort of being fed communities that do interest me. Like I get fed funny videos about chickens all the time. And I think that's really great because I wouldn't have necessarily thought that I would want to be entertained by videos about chickens. And so I like those things being surfaced to me that I do like and I do engage with. I do also miss the sort of small bubble communities that used to make up the entire internet. You used to be so part of like a lot of really sort of small niche communities. And now that's like, well, you've got a subreddit. That's your choice.
Yeah. But even when you talk about the reels, it's like I've got to learn just not to click on the comments. I haven't learned that after all this time. It's like now it's like video of a chicken and you click on comments and it's just like awful hate.
Everything about how you're mistreating the chicken, clearly.
Or anything at all. Everything's a controversy or hateful discussion. Like people legitimately angry. I shouldn't say hateful. Angry. It's an angry discussion.
But sometimes you have to click on the comments to get any information about
Correct,
the thing. So
they hide it in there.
Right. They'll have a video clip, like a movie clip or something. And then the description is some AI-generated bullshit like, sure, here's the information you requested. Yeah. And then it's something about an EV. It has nothing to do with the reel. So you have to go into the comments and look for the comment that goes, what movie is this? And then you have to scroll through all the obvious, ridiculous, fake comments to get one who goes, oh, this is like, this movie from 2021. And then you can finally get the information. But you have to look really hard because no one's putting that in the description of the reel.
What do you mean fake ones? I usually just go in and have a quick little chat with the sexy ladies in my area. And then I just go on and read. You're telling me the stuff I read after the sexy ladies in my area? You're telling me that stuff's fake? That's the stuff that's fake, right? So while we're talking about this, Australia currently has plans for a full social media ban for under 16-year-olds.
Can't say I hate it. Under 16s are going to hate it. And I do understand. The internet has gotten very important for young people. And it's hard to know how you would exist without being on social media. But I don't think it's mentally healthy for us.
Also, though, it's a bucket. It's a classification. What is social media? Because then things will classify themselves as not being social media. I get it. They're trying to do something, and something needs to be done. Taking the devil's advocate here, it's also censorship, and things. But at this point, I can't argue against somebody trying to protect kids from social media. I can't argue against that. You know?
Look, we're
try something, and then we'll figure out if that's working or not.
We're old ass adults, and it's difficult to protect ourselves from social media.
We didn't know. Honestly, we didn't know. Who could have guessed? It was like one of those things when you give something to people and then it just like it goes through a refinement through the masses that you take can't
a step
predict.
And that step is fine, and you take another step and that step makes sense too, and you take another step,
right?
And it's like individually no step is bad,
and then but you look up and there's no more dates and I gotta click on the comments to see the description,
and they still won't tell you when it was made,
and the sexy ladies in my area will not send me my Cybertruck for free and my Bitcoin.
You're gonna have to subscribe to our OnlyFans.
I'm gonna sue them. Those sexy ladies.
All right, well, let's go and enjoy our morning and find those sexy ladies. We're going to find them. They're here. They're in the area. But before we do that, I would like to thank Robert Castro and Super Stewie for sponsoring this episode of our show at patreon.com/morningsomewhere. Thank you both for sponsoring the show.
And thank you to Chuck Parenti for the lovely Morning Somewhere shout today. All right. Well,
hope your throat's all right.
Does it for us today. She thought it sounded like a question, Chuck. I don't know why she thought that. I didn't think it sounded like a question. That does it for us today, November 7th, 2024. We will be back to talk to you tomorrow. We hope you will be here as well.
Bye, everybody.